Alrighty, what's going on, guys? Professor Cook here, back with another video for you all. This is part 2 to the principles of exercise and training. If you have any specific questions concerning any details, please feel free to reach out to your professor or your graduate student. Keep in mind these videos are just covering the main ideas and concepts related to the course. Alright, so let's get into it. This video is not going to be too long. The main thing that you want to know, where we picked off from where we left off. The next we're going into is core stability. So core stability, why is that important? Well, muscles that surround the trunk, meaning like the abdomen and such, are important if you're doing especially major weightlifting, whether it's squatting or deadlift or sumo squats or front. Like, there's so many exercises that you do that are related to core stability. Now, lack of core stability can usually result in major injury. Specifically to the lower back. People usually have a tendency to, when they're weightlifting, especially if it's powerlifting, to place a greater emphasis on the lower back. So core stability is great for the fact that it offers protection. That's the main thing that you're going to want to grasp from that portion of the lecture. Now we're moving into power training. Power training, the main thing that you're really going to need to understand is that it really relies heavily, and I mean heavily, on the glycolytic and adenosine triphosphate phosphocreatine systems. If it didn't rely on these systems, it wouldn't be considered power training. Power training is looking at the amount of work you can do in the shortest amount of time possible, and the shortest amount of time possible relies on using the energy systems that are most readily available. And these are these two systems in particular. So that's one of the biggest things you want to know for power training, that it taps into those two systems specifically, and it doesn't tap into any of the others for the most part. Next, we're looking at interval training, which is just interspersed rest and reduced intensity. So this can be, you've seen it before. You've seen videos or ads for high intensity interval training. This is for individuals who are like doing, let's say, they're doing 100 jumping jacks, then 20 seconds rest, then 100 burpees and 20 seconds rest. That's exactly what interval training is. There's interspersed rest sessions, usually shorter rest sessions, I would definitely say that, in between each exercise set or workout plan, or however you want to say it. Now, the ways to measure this intensity, or the ways to measure any intensity exercise, can vary significantly. I'm talking about, there are so many ways that you can measure intensity. You can measure intensity based off, let's say if I have a track runner and I want her to run 100 meters. I'll have her run the 100 meters as fast as she can, and I'll base her intensity off that. Like, there are a lot of ways that you can base intensity, but the most commonly used one is percent heart rate max. Now this is, we talked about earlier a few videos ago, your heart rate max is 220 minus your H, and that's your heart rate max. People will take a percentage of that, and they'll determine your intensity based off that assessment. And that's the most common used way to determine intensity, especially for athletes. Now, the reason why this video is so short is because there are so many things in the lecture that are sports dependent. Whether you're doing track or soccer, or if you're doing cross country, like, all that varies significantly, and your training is going to change accordingly. So like for the course, you're really going to know that stuff is very specific to each sport. If they ask you questions, I mean, your professor might ask questions like, if an athlete has to jump, I guess, 3 meters in a matter of 10 seconds, like, is that more so power related or endurance related? It's power. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff is power. Like, those are the type of questions that you'll see. But in regards to, I guess, the rest of the lecture, this is the main things that you really want to know for the course. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I hope that was helpful.